viewers, in this video, we will discuss the operation of Schmitt trigger circuit using transistors. Schmitt trigger is a two-stage amplifier circuit that produces square waveform for any arbitrary input. It is similar to the bistable multivibrator because it has two stable states. Here, switching between two stable states is determined by the amplitude of the input signal. The output of this Schmitt trigger circuit changes its state when the input exceeds certain threshold levels, which are upper threshold point and lower threshold point. They are simply called as UTP and LTP. UTP is the level of input voltage at which transistor Q1 becomes on, and LTP is the level of input voltage at which transistor Q2 becomes on. Now we'll see the working of Schmitt trigger circuit. The collector of transistor 1 is coupled to the base of transistor 2 through the resistor R1 as like in bistable multivibrator. But the collector of transistor 2 is not connected to the base of transistor 1. Instead of that, the emitters of transistor 1 and transistor 2 are connected together and they are grounded through the resistor RE. With no input voltage, when the power supply is switched on, the resistors RC1, R1 and R2 forms the potential divider network like this, because the voltage at this point is VCC and this end is at ground potential. Now we can calculate the voltage across this resistor R2, which is VB2, by using potential divider rule, which is VCC into the resistor value R2 divided by sum of the resistors RC1 plus R1 plus R2, which is applied across the base emitter junction of the transistor 2. This is sufficient to turn on the transistor 2. Once it is on, collector and emitter terminals are getting shorted. So more current will be flowing through the collector terminal. As a result of it, the emitter current also flowing through the emitter resistance IE. You know that the emitter current I is equal to IB plus IC, which is approximately equal to IC. This emitter current IE is due to the collector current IC2. This current will create the voltage drop across this emitter resistance RE, which is VE, and this voltage will be applied across the base emitter junction of the transistor 1 with positive polarity to the N-type emitter and negative polarity to the P-type base. This reverse biases the transistor 1, so the transistor 1 will go to off state. Once it is off, collector and emitter terminals are getting open circuited. So voltage at this point is VCC and this is coupled to the base of the transistor 2. This will increase the forward bias of the transistor 2. So the transistor 2 will conduct more and more and then it will be driven to saturation. This is the first stable state of this Schmitt trigger circuit, that is Q1 off and Q2 on. Now we can calculate the voltage across the collector to emitter terminal of the transistor 2, which is the output voltage of the Schmitt trigger circuit. And this is found by subtracting the drop across this resistor RC2 from the supply voltage VCC, which is VCC minus IC2 RC2 equal to V0. The circuit now stays at this stable state VCC minus IC2 RC2. Now I am going to apply the input sine waveform between the base emitter junction of the transistor 1. When the input voltage reaches the cut-in voltage of the transistor 1, the transistor 1 will not go to on state because in addition to this cut-in voltage, we have here some reverse bias voltage VE. So the total barrier potential of the base emitter junction of the transistor 1 is VBE1 plus VE. When the input voltage reaches the VBE1 plus VE, the transistor 1 will go to on state. The point at which the transistor 1 will go to on state is called upper triggering point, which is VBE1 plus VE. Once the transistor 1 is at on state, the collector and emitter terminals are getting short circuited. The voltage at this point is equal to VCE saturation because more voltage will be applied across the resistor RC1. This less voltage will be applied to the base of the transistor 2, which makes the transistor 2 to off state. This is the second stable state of this Schmitt trigger circuit, which is Q1 on and Q2 off. Now we can calculate the voltage across the collector to emitter terminal of the transistor 2, which is equal to VCC because collector and emitter terminals are getting open circuited here. Now we can see the emitter current is flowing through the resistor RE is due to the collector current IC1 because the transistor 1 is at on state. This emitter current will create a new voltage drop across this emitter resistance RE, which we can call it as VE prime. Now the total barrier potential of the base emitter junction of the transistor 1 is VBE1 plus VE prime. As sine waveform starts decreasing from positive maximum to 0, at one particular time, the input voltage is equal to VBE1 plus VE prime. When the input voltage reaches the VBE1 plus VE prime, the transistor 1 will go to off state and transistor 2 will go to on state due to the regenerative operation. The point at which the transistor Q2 becomes on is called the lower triggering point, which is equal to VBE1 plus VE prime. Now we can understand that the output of this mid-trigger circuit will be shifted from VCC minus IC to RC2 to VCC and vice versa when the input reaches the corresponding threshold levels. Hence, this circuit produces the square waveform. Now we'll see how the square waveform is generated from the sine wave. Here two threshold levels UTP and LTP are marked. UTP is VBE1 plus VE and LTP is VBE1 plus VE prime. We could understand from the operation of this mid-trigger, when the input voltage VA is greater than the UTP, the output is equal to VCC. When the input voltage VA is less than the LTP, the output voltage is equal to VCC minus IC2 RC2. We'll start analyze our waveform from this point. From this point we see the input voltage VA is greater than the UTP level. When the input voltage VA is greater than the UTP level, the output is equal to VCC. So the circuit will stay at VCC. As long as the input reaches the LTP, the circuit will stay at VCC. Once it reaches the LTP, the circuit will be switched from VCC to VCC minus IC2 RC2 and stays at this level until the input reaches the UTP. Once it reaches the UTP, the circuit will be switched from this state to this state and stays at this state until the input reaches the LTP. This is how square waveform is generated. The transfer characteristics of this mid-trigger is drawn between the input voltage and output voltage. Here we could see the output changes its state from low to high at UTP and it remains there indefinitely in this state until the input reaches the LTP and vice versa. This characteristics of this mid-trigger is called hysteresis. It is also called dead band or dead zone as there is no change in output though the input changes. The loop of this characteristics is called hysteresis loop. The difference between the UTP and LTP is called hysteresis width. Applications of this mid-trigger. It can be used as an amplitude comparator because it changes its output voltage when input reaches any one of the threshold levels. It can be used as squaring circuit or squarer because any arbitrary input can be converted into square wave. It can be used as flip-flop because mid-trigger can be triggered between its two stable states by alternate UTP and LTP levels. They are used in signal conditioning applications to remove noise from signals. Mid-triggers are used to implement relaxation oscillators. They are also used in digital circuits, in function generators and switching power supplies. Thank you.